In this video, we're going to discuss the audio element tag that is new to HTML5. Now, in this era of digital media, HTML has caught up with the times, and they've provided easy ways to put audio and video files onto your web page. And in this video, we're going to discuss the audio element tag. Now, you will need an MP3 file to follow along with this lecture, or a WAV file or a .ogg file. And you'll want to copy that to the same folder where your index.html is located. Now, you'll see here I've placed a comment in the HTML source, and I've just said the three standard formats are .mp3, .wav, and .ogg. But probably you'll want to use MP3. That is pretty much the standard format these days. And you can see here is the audio element tag, and it's just like any other tag. You need to have an opening tag and a closing tag. Now, there are several attributes, but the main attribute that you absolutely have to use is the controls attribute. And you can see I've placed that right here. And that will basically place a nice control on our web page where we can play whatever MP3 we want to play. And you can pretty much put any name you want in here. I just made this audio controls. Inside the audio element tag is the source element tag. And this is where you can specify your audio file. And here's the source attribute. And you can see here I've just pointed to the test1.mp3. Now, you can actually take this source attribute and just put it right up here if you want. You could do that. And if you feel pretty confident that your file will be supported for all the browsers, you can do that. But if you want to have multiple versions of your audio file, in other words, if you want an MP3, a .wav, and a .ogg version, you need to use the source element tag. And so let's go ahead and do that, even though we don't have a .wav, and we'll just copy and paste this in here, and we'll just make this WAVE. Oops, .wav. Sorry about that. Now, the way this works is if for some reason the browser can't load the .mp3 version, it will try and go ahead and load the .wav version. That's the way this works. And even though we don't have a .wav version in here, you probably should do that. And that's just a good standard operating procedure. Even though most of the browsers today support all the different flavors that are out there, it's always a good idea just in case. And there are several audio conversion tools out there where you can convert your audio files. So that being said, let's go ahead and save this. Let's open up our browser. I'm going to use Google Chrome. And there you can see we have this nice control. And once again, if we didn't have this attribute here, this would not appear. So let's go ahead and hit play. This is an audio test for our test1.mp3. Oh my, isn't that just an awesome voice? Who is that? I wonder. Okay, I have a horrible sense of humor, I know. In any event, that is the audio element tag. Now, there are other different types of attributes that we can use with the audio element tag, and we will discuss that element tag in HTML. Now, I want to point out one thing. You no longer have to create a value for the controls attribute or for some of the other attributes that go along with the audio element tag in HTML5. So this is actually no longer necessary. If you have a reason to use it, you can certainly go ahead. But let's go ahead and actually get rid of this, and I'll show you that everything still remains normal. So let's go ahead and save this. We'll refresh our page, and there you can see the control remains. Now, what if you want the track to automatically play when the web page is loaded? For that, we can use the autoplay attribute. So let's go ahead and type that in here. And let's save this. Let's actually go ahead and close the page out. We'll reload it just to make sure it's working properly. We'll reopen this. This is an audio test for our test1.mp3. And there you can see the autoplay work. Now, what if you want this to keep looping over and over and over again? You can use the loop attribute for that. So let's go ahead and save this. Let's refresh our page, and this should loop over and over. This is an audio test for our test1.mp3. This is an audio test for our test1.mp3. This is an and it did. And I doubt you want to hear my voice over and over and over again, so I took mercy on you guys and hit the pause button. Now, there's one other attribute I want to show you guys. Now, this applies to any HTML element. It really has nothing to do specifically with the audio element. I just wanted to show you guys this attribute that's new in HTML5. And it allows you to drag any element that you want. So again, as I said, you can put this in any element that you want. And you guessed it, it's the draggable attribute. Now, this one we do actually have to give a value to, and we just set this to true. So let's go ahead and save this. Let's refresh our page, and I'm going to have to hit the pause button so this doesn't play over and over again. This is an audio test. And there you can see, we can actually drag this now anywhere within our web browser. Now you might be asking, well, how do we set up a receiver? How do we set up another element that will receive what we drag? And we have to do that in either JavaScript or jQuery, so that's for a future lecture. Okay, that's going to do it for today to cover the video element that is new in HTML5. Now to follow along with this lecture, you're going to need an MP4 file. And if you don't have one available, just go out to Google and do a search on free MP4 videos, and you'll get lots of websites where you can download test videos. Now the video element in HTML is very similar in terms of its format to the audio element, so you're going to find the structure very similar. So as always, we need an opening and a closing tag, and here is the source element. You will remember we talked about that in the audio element HTML lecture. Well, it's the same process here. We specify all the different formats for our particular file. And again, it's the same thing. If we can't load the MP4 file, we want to go ahead and try and load the .ogg file. Now, obviously, I don't have a .ogg file because I'm pretty sure the MP4 file will play. But again, it's the same concept as the HTML audio element. Now, there are three attributes that we need to be concerned with. First, we want to set a width and a height. So we use the width attribute first. And let's set that to 640 pixels wide. And that is sort of a standard specification. And then we need to set a height. And we'll set the height to 360 pixels. But again, you can set these to whatever you want. Now, similar to the audio element, we can also use a controls attribute. And that will give us a nice little video player in our web browser. So let's go ahead and save this. Let's load our page up here. And there you can see we've got our video player inside of our web browser. So let's go ahead and hit play. This is a video test to make sure everything is working properly. And you can see that it worked. Okay, that's going to do it for this video. See you guys in the next.